Where we keep the vibe high, the humor gets raunchy, and things get spicy when we talk about food. I'm here with my friend Brianna tonight. She has been a friend for 3 years now. Yeah, time flies. She initially came into Elevated as one of our customers because she was working like a dog and needed energy and nutrition, so she got hooked on our protein coffees.
Every day.
Yes, if you've been watching my story, I've been crushing it with the coffee and Perlessa combo every single day. I'm feeling awesome. It's great for filling in that nutritional gap if you're low on your protein a lot and want to keep it like low calorie and low everything else. So she got hooked on that, and then she started working one-on-one with me because we just got chatting with her daily visits and got to know each other, and I saw that she was like really struggling with like low energy and just low confidence too at that point.
Yeah.
You're just not in a great space, kind
I
of.
just don't feel myself.
Right, yeah, like a stranger in your own body type thing.
Yeah.
So when you got hooked in the coffees and she was crushing it with just doing like the one coffee a day or whatever, you were feeling good.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't you become a client and then you can get some coaching and some tips to like let that confidence shine now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how did that feel for you, that experience?
That was absolutely amazing. It was life-changing for me. Like, I mean, like you said, I was working like a dog. I was working retail. I was working like 12 to 16 hours a day.
Ugh, we've all been there.
With like
rough.
and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I don't know, as soon as I started, like, actually, I mean, just even coming into the club, like, the vibe is high.
Yep.
Like, all the time.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what really made me continue to, like, come back, was, like, it was, like, a positive space.
Mhm.
Everybody was so welcoming, like, you, Jess, Kate, who all works at Elevated, and then Kate works for Body by Kay Scotty, owner.
Yes.
But you guys all created such a good environment, but also the customers there are also.
Yeah,
like,
everyone is amazing.
Yeah. I
Thank
don't know.
you.
It
I'm
just,
so glad you're a part of it.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And then after starting, like, actually, like, being a client of yours, and even working with you, I mean, we're still working.
Yeah,
together,
we're still
but-
working it. Just cheers to our 75 days. We crushed it all week, so we're celebrating with a glass. We're drinking wine spritzers right now. My bottle was much lower than anticipated, so we mixed in the. Maybe I'm releasing the cat out of the bag. I don't know. They're posting about a new flavor, and I think I already bought it. It's the peaches and cream Barbie edition Olipop. We popped that in some red wine, and I am loving it, honestly.
It gives me like sangria vibes.
Yeah, sangria vibes, but that cream, the cream from the peaches is
It,
hitting.
It, like you said, it like cuts that like heat from the wine, or that little like bite.
Yes. Honestly, like 8 out of 10. Or I don't know, it's
I
really
was gonna say
great.
9.5.
Yeah, 9.5 I think is right. Cheers to this combo.
Cheers.
Love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Olipop, definitely love them. Only 50 calories, 0 fat. There's a little bit of sodium in here. 17 grams of carbs, 9 of that being fiber, which, come on, who doesn't need a fiber boost? And 0 protein, 5 grams of added sugar if that's something that you're looking out for. But I personally love, what's your like number one flavor?
Probably root beer.
Same. Yes.
The root beer just
It
smacks
tastes so
every
good.
time.
Every
Yes.
time. You take a sip of that and you're like, this is exactly what I wanted.
It
Yeah.
just like quenches the thirst, but just like, especially if you were like a previous soda drinker, it tastes
Yes.
better than soda in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's like less syrupy. It has like that fresh like vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And it's like just enough bubbles. It's not
Yeah.
like so bubbly you can't even
Like
taste the
harsh.
flavor.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
So
Love it. Cheers to Olipop. Thanks for lighting up our life tonight. All right, so you became a client. You dropped 40 pounds.
Yeah, pretty close to that.
Yeah, crushed it just by consistency with very basic minimal habits, like plugging in the protein coffee once a day to fill in that gap. And then also becoming aware of other nutrition gaps in your day. I find, I mean, I'm sure you do too now, being a coach, you then transition to a coach. Working with people, I still feel like majority are not eating enough.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Like
almost every time.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 95%.
Yeah,
I would say
for sure.
maybe like 90 to 95.
Yep, I feel like the trend is people are still working out like crazy and not really paying attention to like their food, or they're paying attention to their food, but they're still in that mindset of like less is what's gonna get me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's just like what like society has like when we're growing up, that's what society like expects of us.
Right, yeah. So
Work more, eat less.
we're still working through that. Eat food. And if you don't know what to eat and you want some guidance, come visit us at Elevated Nutrition, 34 New Snack Hill Road in West Greenwich, Rhode Island. We have, like Brianna said, the vibe is always high. It's awesome. I feel like I can't leave there, like, in a bad mood.
Yeah.
I would say, like, very rarely. And that's if, like, life is kind of, like, going
Like
through
outer
something.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
outer stuff
Yeah.
creeping in. We have amazing drinks. I feel like consistency with our flavor is a compliment that we get a lot.
Yes.
So go us and the team for that. We are big on measuring because we're all super anal about things.
Yes.
And we appreciate things like consistency when you go somewhere and like you have a meal that you really love.
Yeah.
You want to be able to go back and have like that same meal and
Yeah.
same experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of one of our big values too. So definitely come visit us, especially if you're looking for some love and guidance in the direction of health and wellness. And then this past year, you got certified as a personal trainer.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How has that ride been for you?
It's been a wild ride, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect it to take off as fast as it did and to have like the response, like the most, or so much of a positive response from it anyways.
Yeah.
And even like leading up to like releasing that I was a personal trainer, it was very intense because like I was like studying, did my test, went to Colorado, came back, and I was like, okay, I'm a personal trainer now.
Right, yeah. It was
So,
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And where was I going? Sorry, brain fog.
You're good.
We're doing a late night special tonight. It's gonna show. I apologize for the pause. Personal trainer. You got certified. Yeah, quick. Oh, I loved seeing how our community was like genuinely so excited for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I really love too about our community. Like we're so connected to everybody. There, honestly, I would say unless you're brandy new, you're a friend, like a genuine friend.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing like everyone that comes in the door. So it was really cool to see them rooting for you.
Yeah.
Just super supportive community. If you feel like you just need somewhere to be because you can't be by yourself, come visit us.
Yeah.
All right. And moving on to our topic of the night, we call that a warm-up.
Yeah.
Or like, that's what at least what I've been calling it. Maybe if you're looking to start a podcast, that could be a good tip for you. I like to kind of just do like a warm-up conversation to loosen things up a little, you know, wreck the nerves a little bit. All right, so our topic tonight is trusting your intuition. Fun fact, we already did this once, and it was amazing. And I am so disappointed you won't witness the moments that we had because it was so good.
It was good.
But we're going to bring that same energy for you tonight, and I know we're going to create some magic, so no worries. So trusting your intuition, and I asked Brianna to do this topic with me because she actually has some metaphysical abilities, and she, for example, does like angel card readings, if that's something that you're familiar with. She can read auras. So essentially, because of these abilities, she is very connected to her like internal compass. Obviously, she also goes through her times where she feels disconnected, and we're also going to talk about that. But tonight, our goal is to help guide you in trusting your intuition when you know you are able to trust it or when it's like right. And also like when to gauge when it's not really steering you in the right direction or if you're misreading. So hopefully we'll drop some awesome nuggets again. Absolutely. And we'll have some fun tonight. Yeah. So one question I really wanted to jump back to was, do you recall the first time you experienced like a metaphysical ability?
Yeah.
I remember being kind of wild.
Yeah. So for me personally, the first time like the furthest back into my memory type of thing, is when I don't even remember how old I was, but like definitely like young, like 5-ish, maybe somewhere around there. And I lived in a house trailer back then, so there was like a hallway, and then my room was like in the middle of the trailer itself. So on like the left side would be my living room, and on the right side was like a bathroom and then my parents' room. So I'm just like, it's probably like, it's nighttime. 2 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around there. I don't know.
Is it true that like 3 o'clock in the morning is like a portal? Just a quick side conversation.
I don't know about specifically a portal, but I feel like nighttime is definitely, because things are very quiet and tranquil, like with everyone, because the majority of the collective on Earth is sleeping and resting.
Yeah.
And then, fun fact, it's like a scientific fact that when we're sleeping, we actually like astral project or like go into different like dimensions from our like brain for at least like I think it was 2 to 6 hours a night.
No way.
Yeah, depending on the type of sleep that you're getting.
So like time traveling in your brain, kind of.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel that. I feel like I have experienced things already so many times.
Yes, like so many like deja vus.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
like,
actually been happening a lot lately for me.
Me too. The other night, I swear, I relived a moment.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
I don't recall what that was, but
I don't know.
it was a crazy feeling to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you were young. Here we
good.
go.
Yeah. So no, I was young. I was in bed. It was nighttime, and this definitely has happened like on multiple occasions throughout my life, like experiencing this like in this trailer. But basically, I was like laying down in bed, had like the covers over, and I remember like waking up and just like feeling like something was like there with me. And
so creepy.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that way sometimes.
Yeah, and it's very like popular with like kids and stuff too, like majority wise. But yeah, so I remember like looking up from like my bed, and my door was like a sliding door, so it was already open. And I remember seeing like this like short man. I don't know why I don't know if it was a man, but I feel like it was a man.
Yeah.
The only reason that I don't know if it was or not is like they were wearing a like cloak, and like the top of the hat was kind of like pointed, but it was like black or maybe like a darker like brown or green color.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I just remember like watching like this little dude like walk like this way past my like door, and then he was just like lapping.
I would have
like,
shit myself.
It was scary. It was scary. I like would always like anytime I like experienced anything like this, I would throw my fucking blankets over my head and would in my head be like, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, even though I know it fucking was. Yeah. But just to like calm yourself down as a kid, like what the fuck
it's
else
so
do you
scary.
do? Yeah.
Like what? Did it have eyes?
I couldn't see. Cause like it was like the hood was over, so it was just like black.
Ew.
Yeah, like it was like a shadow. Like I knew it was like a tiny little man, but
if
like,
I ever experience something like that in this house, we are out of here. Out.
Just be calm. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
Oh my god. I wouldn't survive.
Yeah, no. It was definitely scary. It was scary.
Yeah.
And then the other thing.
So how did you learn to like trust in being able to see these things?
One, I realized that they can't physically harm you.
Okay.
As far as I've experienced.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Or believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
But, because you never know. But, I mean, for me personally, I've never experienced, like, physical, like, harm or anything.
Yeah.
And also, like, growing up and having, like, the spiritual journey that I have, I've connected personally with, like, my spiritual team. Okay. And I know that, like, I am divinely protected. Yeah. And I feel like mindset is also a very big thing with this type of stuff.
Right, for sure.
So, as long as you, like, do know that you are safe and, like, you have your spiritual team, no matter what you believe in, no matter, you know. Right. It could be passed on loved ones. It could be even, if you believe in past lives, it could be people or souls from, like, your past lives watching over you. Yeah. And, like, that could be, like, their purpose in this, like, phase of life. But, I mean, just personally believing that, one, you have that, like, safe space as well. So, like, you could not physically, but, like, mentally picture, like, I personally picture, like, a golden sphere around me a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm, like, around negative people and I don't want to, like, pick anything up.
Right.
And an extension on that, Mel Robbins had actually said, shout out to Mel Robbins, because she's
amazing.
absolutely amazing.
Read her books, do all the things,
podcasts,
5-second rule,
yes.
Right? That was her?
Yeah. Books, everything, amazing. But, oh, here we go.
Mel Robbins, Golden Sphere.
Oh, yes, thank you. So basically, Mel Robbins had said in one of her podcasts that whenever she was, like, out and about into, like, very, like, public areas, and, like, you always have that, like, one person who's kind of, like, has a dark cloud over their head, we'll say, and, like, for her, I think she was at, like, a restaurant or whatever picking up food, and this one other woman was, like, freaking out on the worker. Like, you could tell, like, they were busy, like, working. They were doing the best that they could.
Right.
Which, most cases, that is the case.
Yeah.
And Mel said, in order to not get involved or, like, react or respond to her energy, like the woman coming up yelling, she would picture that person in a snow globe. So it's kind of like the reverse of that, but sometimes if that happens, you can kind of do that too. So it's like protected from both ends.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like, they're in there freaking out, but no one can hear them.
Like,
or at least you're
doing whatever they're
I love that. Such a great tip. Yeah, so that's crazy, that little dude.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Freaky.
Let's dive into what is intuition. What's your kind of like definition for intuition?
I would say intuition is kind of just this like inner feeling. A lot of people say like inner knowing, but I feel like overall it's truly like a feeling.
I feel that. Like I feel like it's almost like getting butterflies to me.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling. Like it just feels right.
Yeah.
Like just like a sureness.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It is here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a feeling. It's just like a feeling of trust.
Yeah.
And I forget if we brought any other good points last time, but I think it was just we both kind of said like a feeling, like like you said, kind of like an inner knowing, and you just like learn to trust that feeling because of synchronicities and things like that. Yeah. And I definitely want to dive into hits again.
Yes.
Because that was interesting.
Yeah. So, what the metaphysical world considers a like intuitional hit is when like you basically like are aware of like that inner knowing of a situation happening right in front of you, and then it in your intuition you know it's going to play out, and then it does play out, and then you're like, oh my god, like I was just thinking that and it just happened.
Yes.
That's a hit. Yeah. That like feeling that
I have been hitting lately.
Yes.
You too? You feeling it?
A little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like the past 2 weeks I feel like have been very transitional for me, and probably for a lot of people with everything going on, like with the full moon, solar eclipse, and Mercury retrograde and everything like that.
Yeah, like I feel like I've been hitting, but I've like been working for it. It's not just like dominoing. Like I typically feel when I'm in a good flow.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I don't know, with like little things, like I just like know I should do like one thing rather than another, rather than the other.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's just kind of like that type of thing, mostly with like business, I feel, but also like I don't know, just like even like if I were like going out with like somebody, like sometimes I just know that like they're gonna cancel or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. I get those reads all the time. Or even
like it happens with my clients sometimes too.
Oh really?
For, like PT, sometimes I'm like, I know like so and so is gonna like be late today, or they're not gonna come in today.
So I will warn you, because we're talking about synchronicities and stuff also with like trusting your gut. I do believe that if we prejudge too much, your energy makes it happen.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I feel like I had a season in when I first started coaching, I was juggling 4 other jobs. So I was like literally
the same.
I would wake up at 6:30. No. I'd have to be nannying for 6:30. So I was waking up at God knows what hour. I would journal, I would do whatever, have my like 30 minutes to myself. Then I would go nanny for like 6 or 6:30, get them on the bus. I'm pretty sure I'd be done there at 7:30. Then I would go teach 8 or 9 a.m. kickboxing. I would teach until 11, and then I would go home, shower, change, go to the speech clinic for 1 to 5, and then I'd work with Steven from 3:30 to like 6:30.
Oh my god.
And then and then from like 6:30 to 9, that's where I squeeze in health coaching.
Oh my god. That's why. But like, that's the thing. You just
It's nuts.
Do what you can with the time that you have.
Right. Yeah. You can literally do anything if you're just consistent and you map out, like, time management is everything. And one big thing, and I taught you when you were first starting out, the in a planner was really helpful for me because I was juggling so much. Jess Sweeney nowadays, she was Jess Williams back then, but she told me about time blocking. And like literally, because my life was so crazy, I blocked out time for all my jobs, but then also like literally showering and eating, because like I needed to be that intentional with my time. And because of that, I was able to transition out of almost all those jobs. I chose to still work past work because I just loved Steven and Rachel. Steven and I went to the aquarium yesterday. We're basically just like family at this point, but I enjoyed that. So I worked that part-time with health coaching, and then with Elevated, I finally went full in because I just wasn't going to have the time to juggle both anymore once we dove into that. But yeah, it's really crazy what you can accomplish if you just like are intentional and consistent. So crazy. But anyways, going back to hits, if this is something you're trying to fine tune and recognize, we recommend keeping a journal.
Yes.
Because again, it just gives you like validation and trust in that feeling. And I mean, life is too crazy. I don't remember anything. Or if I do, it's like it had to have been really important or like a really great time. So if you're like me and you feel like you're forgetful, if you're not, like, don't journal. But if you want to really like tune into that feeling, it definitely helps. I'm a huge believer of putting things on paper. How do you feel like learning to trust your intuition can change your life?
Oh my god.
Life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life-changing.
I mean, just because, like, once you can actually trust yourself, I mean, like, I know we're kind of bringing up, like, a quote, I feel like, that kind of is like this.
Oh, yeah, say your quote. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, sure.
Where was it? Oh, this one right here.
Yeah. So, wait, this one? Oh, yeah. Love yourself, know your worth.
Oh, nope.
I was gonna
that's
say,
not it. Sorry. Oh, this one.
Oh yeah. If you don't love oh my god. If you don't love yourself, you can't trust yourself.
100%.
So, I mean, once you build up that trust, I feel like you truly find that actual genuine love for yourself. And once that happens, honestly, like, I feel like you're so much more honest with yourself. And when that happens, you truly can be like genuine with your actions moving forward with what you actually want in life.
Right, yeah.
So and this is another thing about the universe too, is like the universe loves when you get clear about what you want. You're specific.
Yeah.
And then once you're clear in your head about this, and we're going to go over this too with like numbers and stuff.
Yes.
But once you get clear in your head, like moving forward, when you're taking the action steps, the universe will recognize that so much like faster, or like respond, I should say, to that so much faster than if you didn't have that like synergy.
Yes. Oh, my favorite word. It's
one.
sexy. It's what it means is magical. It's just cool. Synergy. I love it. Yeah, trusting your intuition can literally change your life. I feel like you're very magnetic. Like, that's a feeling that I feel like things are just happening for you. But I truly don't get to that place until, like you said, like you, trust that the universe has your back, like that it's possible. But then also acting in alignment with, like, what you want. So, like, goal setting, getting clear about what it is that you want. And then, okay, like, if that's what I want, maybe, like, look to someone that's already accomplished that. So for like me, shout out Jess Sweeney again. Like she is like literally goals. She's
literally though.
Cheers to Jess Sweeney.
Cheers to Jess Sweeney.
Goals. That family is magic. Great family, and she has worked so hard to get where she's at, and the shit she's been through in her lifetime is nuts. But I'm so proud of her. So like she is just someone I genuinely look up to. So like success leaves clues. So I'm around her all the time, and I just really try to pick up on certain things. And what was I saying? Where was I going with this? Trusting your intuition. Oh yeah, but so like you have to come up with a plan. So if you're unsure where to start, like look at someone that has what you want, and like make sure like they're working for it and they weren't like an overnight success story, because that's not sustainable when that happens. Like look at someone who has like done the work and like has what you desire. And also don't allow your like ego or not the 7 deadly sins. What's the 7 deadly sins? There was a quote from the book. What are the 7 deadly sins? List them out.
Gluttony.
Yeah.
We already said jealousy.
Oh my god, how do we not know these? We gotta look it up. It's gonna bother me. Sorry, friends. Quick intermission. 7 deadly sins. But Pride, yeah.
I watched an anime about this, and I'm trying to think of the different characters.
7 deadly sins. Let's see. Oh, pride, lust, greed. Oh, envy.
Yes.
Envy.
Yes,
All right. What was the quote? It had to do. Envy is the root of your wanting.
Ooh.
Right? I had to like take a minute, and then I like lived in that space for like 3 weeks.
That's kind of spicy.
Right? So basically, like whatever you're jealous of, like looking online, like that's the root of your wanting. So if you're in a place where you feel like you don't know what your purpose is or like what you want in life, like again, success leaves clues. Like who are you looking at, and like who are you like jealous of almost?
Kind of like analyze around.
Right, and like what about their life is really attractive to you, and then like put it on paper and like get clear. Like okay, so like this person has that. How much do I think that costs?
Yeah.
Or like do the research. Like price out say like they have your dream kitchen. Okay, well go to the store and like get a quote and see how much that's gonna cost, and like, all right, it's gonna be $40,000.
Yeah.
How much like in my current means can I like easily tuck away weekly or whatever, or like what can I do to earn extra income to make that money or whatever.
You know what I feel like is a big obstacle for people when it comes to that type of stuff?
What? Oh, shit.
Is listen,
Just punch my wine glass.
I feel like in this day of life, instant gratification is such a thing.
So bad and so toxic.
Mm-hmm. So as soon as like they don't, or some people I should say, as soon as some people don't receive what they're like trying to manifest or create, as soon as it like doesn't happen right away for them, they're just like, oh well, that's too bad. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
and then
they just give up.
Like, give up.
Mm-hmm. I always say like you're literally one choice, one action, one decision away from like that jackpot.
Yeah.
And that's honestly like what keeps me going, because like I just know in my gut I have so many hits telling me that like I'm in alignment, and it just like even when you hit a bump in the road, like I don't know, I've always felt like it's been a very intentional journey for me. At least the last probably 5 years, I would say.
Yeah.
And like even though I feel like I'm like I've hit so many stuck points, it always leads to another pivot. Yeah. And it's so crazy when it happens, and like then you can just, I feel like I can trust again and like actually work towards something. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So trusting your intuition can change your life. So I definitely recommend you grabbing a notebook or taking mental notes with what we got tonight. So when to not trust your intuition, or like red flags to like when you're kind of ignoring your intuition. Yeah. Right? Let's talk about Brianna's reality check.
Yeah. This was an interesting one, friends. I mean, I will say there's definitely, like your ego, first of all, will definitely get like your intuition clouded so fast. Especially, and I mean, usually when this happens, you don't trust yourself. And for me, I was in a very toxic relationship, as you know. It lasted almost about 4 years. And it was because I just ignored my intuition.
Tell them when you first felt it.
Oh my God. So
you're gonna cringe.
It's so bad. It's so, even I cringe. Like, I think back to this and I'm like, how in the fuck did I allow myself to do that for almost 4 years? Like, I'm definitely not the same person that I was back then, but like, I even look back and I'm just like, oh my god, like, it was just so bad. So, I mean, we'll get to it. So basically, I met this man at work. I worked at Popeyes at the time. It was in a truck stop. So he worked on like the truck stop side. Yeah. And a little background, my friend, because it's going to be important anyway, so I might as well get it over with. Yeah. My friend Rosemary had worked in the back at like the truck stop, so like the 18-wheeler, like they would go and get oil changes, whatever. Okay. So she worked over there as a TA, and so again met this man at work. He was very like flirtatious, charming, and like we like hung out a few times like after work, whatever, and then he ended up like asking me out and stuff when we got dating. And literally, I think it was literally the next day after he asked me out, no fucking joke, that like I was already at work. He was pulling into work. I was on like my 10-minute break when he got to work. So I had like noticed he was in a different car. I was like, oh, you know, whatever, he probably broke down on his other car or whatever. Right. So I like go up to the car to like say hi and whatnot, and the first thing I see on this car is like a like butterfly symbol type of thing. Yeah. It was like a sticker. Right. But like it was, like I said, it was like symbol-y, so it wasn't like a straight butterfly, even though I like still, a tattoo almost, or okay. Yeah. Like kind of like a design in the middle of like the wings and stuff, like really thick lined. Yep. It's funny because I actually saw that same exact sticker today. I'm not joking. I'm glad I remembered that. I'm not joking. Like literally not on the way here, but I think it was, I don't know, sometime today. I think it was like on the way to Stop and Shop or whatever. Yeah. Want me to take that one deeper? Crazy. Yeah. I just remembered from our last conversation that we connected like butterflies as like an angel symbol. Yes. So like that could have been your fucking guide saying like, this is sus. Here is a butterfly. Just came to me. And the butterflies kind of like symbolize, I think. Like transformation? Yeah. Yeah. That was a pivotal wild time for you. Wow. So cheers. Sense. Oh, Meg. You gotta catch up. I'm really digging this peaches and cream Olipop and red wine. They're gonna have to market this. It's a Barbie thing to do, right? I don't know. Barbie and wine? Yeah, I would think so. So yeah, so I see this butterfly sticker, and I ask him about it, and I know in my gut that he's definitely fucking lying. Like, absolutely, 100%. A liar. Yep. But so he's telling me that, like, oh, like, my roommate thought it was a wolf, but it's not. A wolf. I'm like, bitch, that's not a fucking wolf. That's a butterfly. But I didn't say that to him. In my head I was thinking, but I didn't fucking say it. Yeah. But I think the main reason for me back then that I didn't stand up for myself, or, like, what I was believing in, was because I was definitely more, like, in love with the, like, idea of being in love. Got it. Because, like, I definitely, like, struggled with, like, my previous partners. Gotcha. And, you know, was on a roll with that, so, but I feel like we all have, like, lessons to learn and stuff like that. Yeah, so, for sure. So, yeah, I definitely, he told me it was, like, a wolf and stuff like that, and it was his roommate, and I was like, oh, okay, like, who is your roommate, a girl? Like, who are you living with? Yeah. And, you know, you'd think I would ask those questions, like, before I agreed to, like, date him. Yeah. But no, didn't do that. Yeah. So, at first, he told me it was, like, just his guy friend, da-da-da-da-da. And then we go back into work to finish our shift, and then Rosemary messages me, and she's like... Comes in hot. Yeah. She's like, this dude is no good. He is living with his, like, ex, but they're kind of, like, still together. Oh, God. And then her boss, who is the ex's cousin, had told Rose that they were engaged. Oh, my God. Yeah, this was, like... 4 years? Yeah. Yeah. It's right. It was a season you needed to live. Clearly. Yeah. It needed to happen. It was a Mack truck, but it needed to happen. So, basically, I then confronted him after work again and was like, what the fuck is happening? Because I don't really want to deal with this. Wait, so is this the beginning or at the end? This is the beginning. Oh. This is the beginning. God. It's so bad.
Oh.
So I asked him again, like, alright, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I know we're lying previously, so, like, tell me what the fuck is up, basically.
Yeah.
And he was
Spill
like,
it.
okay, I'm living with my ex, but I live in the basement. We're not together. We haven't been for a while. I just, like, haven't been able to, like, afford to, like, move out type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I asked her to borrow her car, but I didn't want you to, like, freak out and, like, leave or whatever because, like, I was living with my ex type of thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. And I was like, but
he
what
confessed,
about,
it's fine.
But then I was, like, also asking him about the engaged part.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, no, like, we're not engaged. And at that point, I do remember, like, getting very upset over that. And I was like, I don't know if I really believe you about that.
Yeah, right.
Like, are you broken up? Are you still engaged? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he literally had made her cousin call me. Like, where he called him, but, like, made me talk on the phone. And was like, tell her the truth type of thing. Like, about, like, me and my ex. And the dude literally was like, oh yeah, they're not together. They're not engaged. And I was like, what the fuck? But then, Rose told me this, like, a year ago.
Yeah.
That her GM had told her that my guy, or my ex-guy, I should say now, was also, when he used to work at a different place, fucking around with, like, 5 other girls. While he was with this same fucking chick.
Scum of the earth.
Yes. Like, don't do that shit.
Yes.
Like,
so, like, trust your gut so you don't go through shit like that.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Especially for 4 years.
Yeah. For us, I tried to brainstorm a time when I, like, felt like I really didn't trust my intuition sometimes. And that was, like, the home buying process. Luckily, we were in a spot where we were living with my in-laws. Thankful for them for that time. It was, honestly, like, such great years. We were there for about 2 years. But because we were living with them, we weren't really in a rush to, like, lock in and secure a home. So we got to be picky, which was really nice. Yeah. But even with that, like, you get excited because, like, you're buying your first home. And I don't know, I feel my aunt, who was our realtor, did a wonderful job with, like, weighing pros and cons with each house and stuff. But looking back now, if we ever got offers accepted on any of the houses that we got turned down on, I was like, why did we even do that? And thank you, universe, for not, like, falling through on that, you know? Because I wasn't trusting my intuition. Like, we were giving up we would have been sacrificing major things on our list. Yeah. For each one. At least one major thing. And this house, when I just started to, like, I think we just sat down again and was like, okay, like, what are our absolute must-haves? Yeah. And we, like, got clear. Yeah, we just got clear. And then every day I would, like, write it in my journal. And that was, like, when I was so anal. I had been in, like, a really solid journaling practice for at least, like, 6 years at that point. That's awesome. So at that, I was just, like, really in manifestation mode with, like, I want, like, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, whatever. Yeah. And a yard was big, fenced-in yard. What else was, like, our non-negotiables? We wanted to be able to host. Yeah. So, like, a couple of those houses, like, for sure would have been giving up that, like, ability to host to any degree. Like, this is still not, like, a huge house, but it's enough to host, like, a couple over or whatever. So when we got clear, we ended up having actually a mutual friend, or the previous owner was friends of, like, a mutual friend, essentially. Gotcha. I don't know if that's confusing to follow.
No, I got you.
Nicole Dawn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her friend, or her old friend, I don't know who they were at the time, but she knew her. So she's like, I'll message her and put in, like, a good word, essentially. And then she connected us. So I got to chat with the previous, it was like a whole, like, divine intervention thing, essentially. And we got everything we wanted with this house, plus a front porch, which I would never not have, because it's just amazing, especially in the summertime. But yeah, definitely a time where I felt like I wasn't super connected because I was just, like, overeager at that point. Which, like you said, like, that quick satisfaction, or what was the word you used? Instant gratification. Yes. We're, like, so prone to just craving that because that's how our society is nowadays. All right, let's scoot along here. Times that we did trust our intuition, maybe not, like, story these, but just kind of, like, shout some out.
I mean, I will say, what I used to do at Popeyes was when a customer would, like, walk up. Yeah, I love this. And I still do this sometimes with, like, other small things. Yeah. Like, is this person going to turn right or is this person going to turn left?
Right, yep. I do that same shit.
But at Popeyes, I used to try to guess people's sides or what they were going to order. So, like, they would come up and in my head I would be like, okay, they're getting a 2-piece. Are they going to get mashed potatoes or Cajun rice? Mashed potatoes. And then they would, like, order mashed potatoes and be like, yeah. And, like, half the time that's what got me through that job.
I could imagine. Yeah,
but,
yeah.
like, I don't know. Like, it's even just, like, as small, like, for practicing wise, it's as small as that, too.
Right, yeah. Yep, for sure. For me, taking on health coaching was, like, a huge trust in my intuition. Because, like I said, like, I didn't have fucking time. I was already working sun up to sundown. But I just knew, like, did I ever tell you how I got started? Like, how,
I don't
like...
think, like, started.
Well, so I was a kickboxing instructor. And then one of the instructors at the time got started with Jess.
Okay.
As a mentor. And she was, like, looking for her testing people. Like, we kind of mentor in the beginning, just some people to help the new coach, like, learn how the process works, essentially. No obligation. But I ended up trying out the 3-day trial pack because, like, I was kind of in a rut. I was kickboxing 6 to 7 days a week. I did lose weight, but I was kind of, like, in a plateau. So they were like, you probably need to, like, kind of rework your nutrition, which I really wasn't paying attention to because I was just so busy. I was just grabbing anything. So got started with her. Oh, yeah. And I was feeling so great. I dropped 15 pounds. I was, like, the leanest I had ever been. And people started asking naturally. Yeah. And I just fell in love. I started at Raise the Bar in East Greenwich. Mm-hmm. And same thing to you. Like, I just kind of, like, fell in love with that community. Yeah. And you just go there and, like, everyone knows your name. It just, like, feels nice. Yeah. And on top of, like, the results and people noticing, I don't know, like, when you really are aligned with, like, a healthy routine, like, you just feel different. Like, you're magnetic naturally. Yeah. You're more open, I feel, to, like, these abilities and stuff. Just even if you're unaware that it's there, you know absolutely. What I mean? Yeah. So something just in my gut was like, I need to, like, I literally just probably can still scroll back to it at some point. But I sent her this long ass message at, like, 9:30 p.m. And it was like, I hate my life, essentially. I'm, like, overworked and unsatisfied with where I'm going. And I just feel like I need to, like, look into this, essentially. So she had me go to the local event. And it was just, like, rock solid confirmation that, like, this is where I needed to be. And, like, definitely hasn't been sunshine and rainbows the entire time. Like, I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, is this still worth it? You know what I mean? But it's just, like, the community, the, like, impact that I know I'm having. Because the people that are my solid people that have been with me for a bit or just even starting out, like, you can tell, like, when a client is really going to, like, embrace what you have to offer and, like, change their life. Yeah. And it's, like, an addicting feeling because there's so many people that need what we have to offer. And, like, we can't even extend, like, our arms wide enough to help those people. Absolutely. So it, like, feels really cool to be able to, like, be in that and hopefully like inspire more people to do that too. Yeah. So, definitely like hardcore gut feeling. Yeah. My husband, we were a blind date for senior prom. Like what? How are we here? The core relationships. I wanted to talk about that. Like the synchronicities with like people who enter and exit your life. Yeah. I definitely want to get into that conversation. Yeah. This might be more than an hour. We're at 45 minutes. We'll see. We'll try and speed it up. But I think it's really interesting to follow when pivotal people enter your life and to see like if it's for a transition or for like a forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I recently had like a few transitions where like people just like exited my life, not necessarily just because I was a mom, but like just different stages in life, mentally and like friendship wise, like the expectation, I guess, is different. Like, for me, I'm so grateful for my people and my village that I've been able to lean on. Absolutely. But in this season, low-maintenance friendships are it for me. Yeah. So
adult life is fucking hard.
Yeah, like, and you just want to fucking chill. Like, we have no time to just chill. Yeah. So when you don't have a plan, I'd just rather not. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love you guys, but... I'll see you on Monday. I don't know. I got you. But anyway, so I had a couple of transitions and like one friendship kind of crumbled, but then this other person entered my life and I'm like, this person is it for me. Like they're a core relationship and it's nuts to see how that like aligns sometimes. Yeah. Have you had some similar experiences?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I am going to tell a different story than
Yeah.
the first one because I feel like it actually like means more.
Okay.
So I used to be friends with this girl named Alyssa, and it was probably, I met her in 6th grade, and we were friends, probably like hardcore friends, like sleeping over every weekend type of like vibe.
Yep.
Up until like probably like 9th grade, like freshman year of high school, and we were definitely good friends and stuff like that, but I feel like it was also back then a good escape from me from my home life at that point in time. And then she actually had moved, like her mom had moved to like Smithfield, and like back then I didn't drive, so we definitely did not like see each other as much. But right before then is when I met Sam.
Oh, okay.
And I now live with Sam and her 2 sisters, Grace and Anna. They
Such
are
a nice
all
family.
amazing people.
Yeah.
Like, so down to earth, genuine, and literally they have seen like the absolute worst and the absolute best of me.
Yeah.
They
Cheers to the Carews.
Yes.
I don't have any alcohol left, but
cheers to the Carews.
Cheers to the Carews. You guys are amazing people.
So that was like a huge relationship, like transition for me, because like I probably haven't spoken to Alyssa in probably like a couple of years, but definitely has not been like the same type of like vibe.
Gotcha.
And definitely just honestly doesn't like really compare to the vibe, or like I should say the connection that I had with like Sam and like that family as well.
Yeah, so like obviously a very valid and pivotal relationship in your life, but eventually like kind of pedaled off and led to this like other like huge core connection.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you just never know like if it will transition out, because like you said that was like a 6-year relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like I similarly have had like year-long friendships that were so solid, and it just like naturally kind of fades off. It's weird.
Yeah.
And it sucks sometimes to accept that happening.
Yeah. Because you're still like more in that like relationship as well.
Yeah. And yeah, it sucks sometimes when those people transition out of your life, because sometimes it's like so random.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is happening right now? But then you like, you go through it. Yeah, you go through it, and like this typically other core relationship enters, and then it's fine. But like it is weird. Like people don't talk about that, like the weirdness of some of those relationship transitions. All right, so that was that conversation. Oh, let's plug her in. Please, old friends. We're gonna briefly go through our 4 agreements, because essentially, I think where we went with this last time was by embracing these 4 agreements, it kind of just enhances your mentality to be more open to then experience these hits and like things of this nature.
Absolutely.
So we won't like story dive into these, because I want to get to signs, because that was really fun. But the 4 agreements, the first one is to be impeccable with your word, which integrity is fucking everything for me. So if you got no integrity, you're not gonna be my friend. Sorry. It's just not happening. I don't got time for wishy-washy peeps or any of that jazz. So being impeccable with your word with others, but also with yourself. So big thing there. Don't take anything personally. This one's fucking hard.
Yeah. That one is really hard.
Especially because our lives are just, like, plastered over everywhere. So then, like, I don't know. Like, if you're in a fight with a friend, you're, like, creeping on their story to see if they're, like, bashing you or, like, throwing something in your face when who knows if that's their intention and if they're, like, out and about. But maybe, like, they're just going out for a drink because they also feel shitty about your situation, but you're reading into it, and it's, like, a whole thing.
Yeah.
So don't take anything personally. Like, typically, if something's awry, like, it's often on the other person. Obviously there is like 2 sides to every story or fight or whatever, but just don't care as much. I guess. Don't make assumptions, also very hard nowadays.
I think the previous one kind of like leads into this one too.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Like you said, like reading into like situations or like, and especially to this day, like you said too, with social media, it is definitely so hard to like not get into your head sometimes.
Right, yeah.
So I think it's just kind of like you have to realize, like, people aren't making decisions always based off of you.
Right.
And that is also part of your ego.
Yeah, I was just going to say ego for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I was going to say one other thing. Don't make assumptions. Maybe not. I don't know. Always do your best, which this is also a huge thing.
Yeah.
I actually, before Alexa, or Alexis, no, oh my gosh, Alexa.
Trainer?
Yeah.
Alexa.
Yeah. There's so many Alexias, Alexises.
So good.
Alexa, super badass. Her and Kate just did the fitness competition, and I had sent them both a little message because I had like a revelation the day before about this, what I'm about to say. Josh and I were just chatting random stuff in the kitchen, and we got on the topic of like a standard for our family that we want to really uphold is like no matter what we're going into, like as long as we show up to win with that like mindset to win, like the ultimate outcome doesn't define us. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah. So like I just sent them like a message ultimately like wrapping that up. But like yeah, as long as you're there to win, like whether you win or not shouldn't define like how you feel about that experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know, like you showed up.
Yeah.
And like that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so we definitely came up with some options here. How to strengthen your intuition without putting it to the test.
I would say like self-care is a really big one.
Oh, yes.
Just
Yep.
like really getting in tune with yourself and like your necessities, like your needs
Yes.
to fill up your cup.
Yep.
And then also just kind of like being independent and doing things like on your own.
Yep.
Whether that be going out to dinner by yourself, which Jess actually told me to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I did do that, and that was also like definitely like pivotal for me. I feel
Right.
like just like doing that like on your own.
Yeah,
don't know.
I feel like that'd be awkward. I've definitely gotten like lunch by myself or something, but I feel like dinner's so intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought a book. It was good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think self-care for me too. I feel like when I'm really in tune with taking that time for myself, whether it be getting up 15 minutes earlier to just wash my face before I mom it for the day or whatever, I feel like that definitely helps me be more open and just strengthen that like trust with myself.
Yeah.
My ear's ringing.
Left or right?
Right.
High pitch, low pitch.
I feel like it was pretty high. What does it mean?
I think if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but I think right high pitched is like your guide's like kind of like giving you like upgrades type of like thing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
bring it. I'm here for the upgrade.
Yeah.
This year I'm leveling up, okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Received.
Yes.
Love yourself, know your worth, get clear.
Yes.
And I'm going to requote, if you don't love yourself, you can't trust yourself. So
Absolutely.
pour on the self-care, get serious with just taking, again, even like 5 minutes for yourself to wash your face and freshen up for the day. All I do is I do like micellar water in the morning.
Yeah.
I do a little spritz of toner. I do some under eye cream. I'm at that age now where under eye cream is important. And I like actually take the time to like massage my face.
Yes.
And I feel like that for me is like a very intimate moment that I take for myself every day, and it just like feels so good.
Yeah.
You're just like getting real with your face, you know what I mean? Like, and I had actually done a bath bombs on how to get more comfortable in your own skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the things is like I encourage people to like take a bath, because like you're literally forced to sit naked with yourself for however long you want to be there, and like you just like accept what is, but not in a bad way.
No.
But like you just like get comfortable with being with yourself. And I also recommended stretching in your underwear.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Whether
I
it
like
be
that
by
one.
yourself
Yeah.
or with your loved one. It doesn't necessarily need to get spicy, but like
If it does, you know.
I think that could also be a cool like warm up for like a couple that is a little self-conscious, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So like you're with each other, like do dim lighting.
Getting comfortable. Just,
Right, like you
moving.
still have like a little coverage, but like you're essentially naked
I
with
like
one
that.
another, and like you can just like feel each other out, you know what I mean? And be like, we're in the space doing this, but it's not weird
Yeah.
or as weird as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of like breaks the ice.
right, yeah. So that was some of that. Let's dive into signs.
Yes.
So sorry you were not going to see my genuine excitement about how I learned If any of you are familiar with angel numbers and like seeing like the triple numbers or whatever, I was not aware that they were organized in like layers almost, and I like jumped out of my seat. I needed to take notes, so I apologize that you missed that. But we're gonna dive in. So, learning to trust your intuition is also, for some people, you recognize signs that the universe gives to you. So I feel like this happens for me when I'm in tune, when I'm feeling magnetic. Like, signs are just literally everywhere. You just have to be open to that, like, reception of the sign. And these could be things like numbers, like seeing those triple numbers or repetitive numbers that stand out to you. Different symbols will go into music, feathers, animals, and then, like, also divine interventions, like big steps kind of like out of left field that you didn't expect, but were like pivotal. So let's go into numbers first.
Yes, absolutely. So what made me start getting into numbers is when I started reading tarot.
Okay.
Because the deck is numbered.
Got
so
it.
You have to kind of first like understand what the cards like not necessarily like mean, because I feel like no matter what, like they have like a general meaning, but they're never like really like the same, because not every situation is going to be the same.
Right, yeah.
But, so, I found this out when I was researching, like, the cards themselves. But from 0 to 10, it's kind of, like you said, it's like layers. So it's kind of like a phase of life, if you will, or kind of like a cycle.
Yeah, yeah.
So, 0, kind of like an infinite, like, type of, like, thing.
Yeah.
Or, like, symbol. Or, like, I would say, like, the beginning of something. And no matter what, you're always going to come back to 0.
Okay.
So it's just a continuous cycle, continuous circle.
Love it. Okay. Got it.
So, but this is at the beginning. So you are, like in tarot, you're considered like the fool. But I wouldn't consider it like negatively like that.
Yeah.
I feel like fool is kind of like a negative term.
Right.
But you're kind of like experiencing something for the first time, or looking at something for the first time, something just completely new, some type of new beginning.
Got it.
Then you have to 1, where it's kind of like, okay, I'm in this situation, like, and you're just thinking about like, what action steps do I want to take to like
kind of like
further
planting
this.
the seed in a way. Okay. Yeah.
And then, like, mentally, anyways.
Got it. Like manifestation, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 is kind of more of like, it's kind of like the divine type of things, or like, what's the word?
I have
like,
take action, divine unity, yin yang,
divine unity. Yeah.
cause and effect, like that kind of like being aware of like your actions that you're taking right now are gonna have like a certain consequence or result.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so once you start taking those action steps, your guides and the universe are then like seeing that, and they're like, oh, like, yes, absolutely. So your 3s are all about like strength and kind of, well, your guides are sending you strength and stuff like that, saying like, okay, you're on like a good path, keep going, like, don't give up.
Yep.
And so 4 is when you're like in that like momentum
yeah.
of like not giving up type of thing. Your guys are like, okay, we're gonna test this to make sure that you actually want what you're manifesting.
Right.
We're trying to manifest. And so they're gonna throw something your way, potentially. And then 5 is when that change happens.
Yep.
And that could be like during that like pivotal test, or like afterwards.
Okay.
Like the change could be because you passed that like test, if you will.
Yep.
So 5s are all about that. 6s are after the change, then you realize kind of like what isn't going to serve you now.
Right.
In like this phase.
Yeah,
of
you
your
kind of
life.
have to like filter things out or reflect and eliminate.
Yeah. Exactly. And then it kind of like 6 and 7 kind of remind me of like 2 and 3 in a way.
Okay.
So 6, you're getting rid of things that doesn't serve you, like we just said.
Yep.
And then 7s is kind of like your guides being like, yes, like you did it, you're doing a great job, like keep staying positive, like you are so on the right track, like the light is at the end of the tunnel type of thing.
Yeah.
And 8 is, I feel like a lot of people know the 8s is abundance.
Oh,
so,
right, the slot machines. I get it now.
Yep. So, I mean, whether that be like monetarily, it could also be like friends, family, like any type of abundance.
Right.
And it comes definitely in many different forms.
Yeah.
And so once that happens, then you're like reaping the reward. Then you have your 9s, which is kind of just symbolizing the, like, okay, like, you've been through it, like, and I thought this was really cool. I read this in one of the numerology books that I had.
Yeah.
9, when you look at it, it's kind of like somebody, like, hugging.
Oh.
So it's kind of like reminding you, like, okay, you're at the end of this, like, take care of yourself, fill up your cup so that you're ready for the next phase.
Got it.
And then when you hit 10, then it's like, okay, like, things are complete, like,
right.
you know, keep doing what you're doing, but, like, something
Like,
new
you
is
can
gonna be
breathe,
coming.
or, like, kind of, like, just, again, confirmation in a way. That's so interesting. I love it. Yeah, so I got very excited, and I've been really trying to just pay attention to this, because numbers are one of my, like, primary signs. Like, I will literally see when I'm, like, really having an internal chat with myself in the car, because, like, that's where we always talk to ourselves at in the shower. I will see, like, 5 license plates in a row.
Yes.
It's intense.
Well, because, like, the first one, sometimes you're like, is this just
like,
a
I noticed
coincidence?
it, but then you're like, okay, we got your attention.
Yeah, literally.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever.
They won't give up. Either.
No,
It's
they
just,
won't.
Once
Yeah.
It starts, it doesn't
No,
stop.
and honestly, it isn't often, like, very different numbers. It'll be, like, 2 or 3 of the same numbers,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild when you start noticing that stuff. Any other symbols that you really resonate with, or that, like, you know of for people to connect about?
I mean, for symbols mostly, it could be like if you personally are like religious, it could be like some type of like cross or something like that. But then also like, let's say like for me, like on my stepdad's side, my grandma loved apples and owls.
Mm-hmm.
Like her whole house was decorated with like apple things. There was
Oh my
apple
gosh.
magnets, apple like coaster things.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And then she always had like these wooden like owl statues.
Yeah.
So anytime I really see like an owl, or like if I'm thinking of her and see like an owl or something,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like, hey, how
Cute.
you doing?
Yep.
Like that type
Yeah.
of thing.
And actually, we were talking about my old neighbor Louise last time with the butterfly.
Yeah.
And I had always questioned whether, like, I always thought when I'm in my garden, I'm like in my space. Like, that's where I feel like really connected to the universe and just like myself. And I always see like the little white butterflies, but they're so random. But it's like, again, usually when I'm like having a conversation, or like I've been needing validation for something or whatever, I notice either like a shit ton of butterflies, or there's like one little white one fluttering around. And I just had this feeling in my heart that like it was Louise or whoever visiting. And then, flashback to a story from last time, our basement had some water. We luckily didn't flood like a lot of people. That was crazy. But we like had to clean out the basement, and I found my old like church retreat letters, and one was from Louise. And like when I read it, I remember it not making sense at the time, but like I needed to hear like what was on the note like now, and it was just, like, so that was a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
And then when we're recording our podcast, we were talking about these symbols, and I was like, oh my god, now that you say that, I think there's fucking butterflies on the note. And like that just, there were. Newsflash. And so that was crazy for me. So like that just like signified like she's like in the garden, like that she's the butterfly. So
Absolutely.
that was pretty cool. Birds are like a big one for people. Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then you said we kind of dove into like potentially there were birds that meant other things, but we won't dive into that tonight because we are interesting topic. So we're already over an hour, but we're going for it. Feathers were another one that I see often, for sure.
Absolutely.
And were there like different types of meanings for feathers? I know that one wasn't too crazy.
Different colors usually mean different things. I mean, personally, I feel like it is a little bit different for everybody, case to case.
Yeah.
Like for me, I associate my half sister with pink.
Okay.
So and my dad, who is shared with my half sister, has also passed, but. Kat McSwine, shout out to Kat McSwine as well because she's a boss babe.
Yeah, she is.
She had a dream, and my dad had visited her, and he told me. I also saw a white feather today.
Oh, really?
With PT. This is so weird. Actually,
Weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So she had told me that whenever I saw a white feather, it was him saying hi.
Oh wow.
And she said that at one point I would see like a lot of white feathers, which is also kind of a thing because in the back of our yard we have like a little path.
Yeah.
And our neighbors have like ducks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this one day, like out of nowhere, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go on a walk, and there was white feathers everywhere.
Weird.
And so like
I love
that.
that.
Happened soon after.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah.
So cool.
Between the white with white feathers with my dad, and then the pink feathers I feel like are more for my sister.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't really any like natural pink feathers. Other
Right,
than,
yeah,
like,
but you'll be in a store and there's like a boa feather
Yes,
on the floor or
exactly,
something.
exactly.
Yeah. It's definitely not impossible for a pink feather to pop in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think one thing too, is this like our final, final note to kind of wrap things up. I think you really just have to trust in yourself, like we've mentioned the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just trust that like the universe, God, like whatever you believe in, like truly always has your back energetically. But you always have to just be open to like that's a thing. So I think like religion and like belief in anything, like that is what keeps us tuned into like that inner feeling. Because like without something to like have faith in or belief in, like I don't even know like how you'd operate.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you just a robot.
Yeah.
Do you have anything inside you?
Yeah. It would be weird to like not have that belief in something, that something has your back always.
A kind of cool note on that. That I personally believe in. I always believe that we are one with the universe. Like even in like you compare pictures of like your veins to like different parts.
It's
of,
so
like, the earth and
crazy.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we're one with the universe and then the universe is one with us, we just have our own backs.
Right.
Which
yeah.
just also goes to prove how much power we do have in our lives.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's a cool way to put it. I love that. Yeah, so trust in yourself, trust in the universe. I hope that these tips were helpful for you guys. I think it was still a super powerful episode.
Yeah, this was
Go
great.
Us. Take two
Take
was
two.
a hit. Hope you guys had fun tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Toodles.